welcome to another episode of the new season of the interview feature. And in today's episode, I have none other than Remonde Levy. He's a fitness trainer, he's an entrepreneur, and he also just started a new brand he calls the LevyNation. How are you doing, Levy?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah. So, to start up, who is Levy?
So, my name is Remonde Levy. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and I'm 31 years old. Born and raised in Buffalo, New York by two wonderful parents, Ernest Levy and Regina Levy. I am an only child, even though outside of my father, who recently passed away, he had two previous relationships, so I do have two half brothers by the name of Marcus and Jermaine. Love them very dearly. But between my mother and himself, it was just me. So pretty much I have been an athlete my whole entire life. Always been into some type of athletic, structure, playing baseball, softball, swimming, roller skating, getting into basketball, and then going into football, and then eventually going to college and being a walk-on at Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina, doing that for about a year and a half, and then after that, going on and getting my master's degree after 4 years of going to Benedict College in 2012, where I graduated with my BA degree in mass communications with a concentration in broadcasting, and then taking about 2.5 to 3 months off, and then pursuing my master's degree at Full Sail University, located here in Orlando, Florida, where I did a 1-year accelerated program. And pretty much, to break that down, I kind of look at it as like a video game. Each level of every month indicated where you had to pretty much take a test, and if you pass that test, you go on to the next level, and so on and so forth. Kind of like a video game. At the end of each trial and at the end of each structure, you got to get a high score. If you get a high score, you get to go to the next level. So that's how I kind of, looked at Full Sail. And I learned a lot while getting my master's degree. And if I didn't mention it before, I ended up getting it in entertainment business and Master of Science. So that was around 2013, graduated November 1st, 2013. And then eventually I would have the opportunity to pretty much go into modeling. So being a professional male model, where I would then sign with Red Model Management at the particular moment in time. And then I would go into coming back, actually being a teacher here in Orlando, Florida, and then going and having the opportunity to go back to New York City, actually, to sign with another agency at the particular moment in time. Just to fast forward a little bit after that, I was able to kind of work into the educational realm by being a teacher. So I was able to be a teacher, going from being a paraprofessional to a substitute teacher, from a substitute teacher to a disciplinary secretary, from being a disciplinary secretary to then actually having a real actual teaching position as a business education teacher. And having that, I pretty much had the mind frame of, if I impact just one student, I did my job. And the reason why I say that is because you are always leaving some type of impact on people, whether it's good or bad. It's always some type of impact. So for me, I wanted to make sure I left a good impact on at least one person, So now, fast forward where I am now, 2019, I went and I decided to really go after my dreams. And a lot of it pretty much is now what's gonna kind of revolve back to what LevyNation is all about.
So going back to the initial part of what you said earlier, and your early childhood and bringing it forward, just briefly, talk about, you grew up in Buffalo, in New York, New York State.
So I'm originally from Buffalo, New York.
Yes. And so what made you, because I know you're very passionate about Buffalo.
Yes, I am.
So what made you move from transitioning from Buffalo and moving down to Orlando?
Well,
Florida?
it kind of goes back to like my mom. My mom always used to tell me, there's, you know, not to get all cheesy on you, but you know, I remember being held as a baby and my mother telling me there's a star with your name on it being held, you know, and looking, because we used to live in Cheektowaga at the particular moment in time, and us having that one room where there was a window, and she would hold me and tell me, hey, listen, there's a name on your, you know, there's a bunch of stars in the Milky Way and all that good stuff, so your name is on one of those stars, go and get it. So I remember that being pretty much instilled and downloaded into my brain so thoroughly that I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm an only child. I knew at an early on, that I wanted to pretty much do more than just work the average 9-to-5 job, which, let me just make sure there's nothing wrong with working a 9-to-5 job, but I knew that in order for me to get to where I needed to go, I needed to explore outside of just Buffalo, but also understanding that I represent the 716 all day, every day. But I wanted to be, I guess, I wanted to be a including family transitional influence to my mother, my father, and whoever else that was from Buffalo, New York, to say, hey, listen, there's more to life. And there's other states, there's other cities that you can go and broaden your education and showcase your talent. So that's pretty much what I wanted to do.
I just need to let you go. Heartache, 'cause what doesn't bend will break. What is keeping me awake is the fact that you moved on. So when I see you there with what's your name, but the memories come back to me, I just turn my back and put them all away. 'Cause I would be
So in April of 2021, you
Yes,
lost your
April
dad
8th.
After battling cancer and also Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yes.
How did that make you feel, and how have you been able to transition in remembering his legacy?
So again, like to piggyback off, yes, my father passed away from prostate cancer while already battling Alzheimer's and dementia for the past 4.5, 5 years at that particular moment in time. Now, at that moment in time, I felt like I lost everything. Let's just be very honest. I felt like a part of me just pretty much sunk to the bottom of the ocean. It took me some time, and to be completely honest with you, I don't think I'll ever really totally cope from actually losing a father figure like himself. Very rare man, you know. So, like my mother would pretty much describe him as the quiet giant. But what it has given me is inspiration, and it's kind of gave me an extra battery pack in reference to really going after what it is I believe in. Because prior to moving to Los Angeles, California, I had the mind frame of going out there knowing he already had Alzheimer's and dementia, to really be successful in acting and to really be a really good actor, and in modeling as well, so that I can be like, hey mom, here dad, here's 20 grand, here you can get the proper, you know, aid that you need, or here's this, just whatever I needed to do to make him feel comfortable. Now granted, yes, COVID-19 played a factor in things, you know, distance, and I also took that in consideration of making sure that, you know, there was moments and times I wanted to go home and check on him in Buffalo, New York, but I wanted to also make sure that I wasn't giving him any more issues, you see what I'm saying, dealing with what he already was dealing with. So that's pretty much why I kind of stayed in that area at the moment in time. And like I said, right now, after thinking things through over a period of time of, let's just say, 6 to 8 months, you know, I came up with this mind frame of really wanting to honor the Levy legacy, really wanting to honor him, and really wanting to make sure that this year, going into the new year, was something that I could bring to fruition, to make sure that everybody can see this. You know, whoever may be dealing with this, that you're not alone.
So, gathering from what you said about your mom, it sounds like your mom was really a strong woman, and she kind of was more like a primary caretaker for your father, considering his condition.
Yes.
So, looking from the outside and watching your mom, how did that make you feel? Considering she kind of, because moms kind of have a way of just bottling everything in,
yes,
and giving that nice look and making sure that everyone is okay, even if inside them they're struggling.
Yes.
So how did she cope, and what would be your final take on her?
So to be completely honest with you, in reference to my mother being a primary caretaker for my father, looking from the outside looking in, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a struggle between her and I, because there was moments and times where I wanted to make sure that she was okay. She wanted to make sure I was okay, but at the same time, she wanted to make sure my father was okay, and I wanted to make sure he was okay. So it was kind of like a triangle, you know,
a 360.
Yeah, it was just a tornado at times. Let's just say that. And what I did was I had to kind of humble myself a little bit further more, because she was actually there during the transition, seeing him go from what I consider Superman to slowly, you know, depleting and kind of just transitioning into that more comforting, but like, I can't do too much right now type of phase. So I can only psychologically, on my own strength and knowledge, understand what she was going through, but I don't think I will ever really understand, because that was her husband. You see what I'm saying? And that was someone that she loved and catered to, and he catered to her for over 33 plus years. And then to see someone that you love, you know, and you fell in love with, you had a son with, or whatever, for those past 4.5, 5 years, not have the, I guess, the correspondence or just the regular everyday mobility, I'm sure that kind of psychologically put a huge toll on her. So for me, it was on my end also a psychological challenge, because I'm in Los Angeles, California. I'm not able to participate in going to see my parents and make sure they're okay. But in the back of my mind, I'm a little frustrated because COVID-19 is going, things are shut down. I can't network and move and navigate the way that I want to, so that I can showcase to them, hey, I'm out here doing things to get things going. But if I had to say it, man, I'm a resilient man. And I could have easily went back home and said, forget everything. But something told me to continue to put forth the effort. And I feel like there was some type of, like a religious spirit, or whatever you really want to call it, that told me to just stay where I'm at, keep pushing. And I was able to succeed in some avenues. And I'm still doing that to this day.
Me away is the fact that you moved on. So when I see you there with what's your name, and the memories come back to me, I just turn my back and put them all away. 'Cause that would be great. I'll move on, I'll be just fine. I'll let go. Still my broken heart is beating, so tonight I will believe it. And I got this crazy feeling that someday.
How has it been since changing career path?
So pretty much since, I want to say literally 2019, I've been focusing more so on the fitness aspect of things, modeling and acting, and also trying to transition into making sure that people understand a little bit more in depth how important your health is. Also with making sure that your nutrition is good, and then also participating in educating yourself a little bit more thoroughly. So that's pretty much what I've been working on. For me, pretty much going from teaching in the books to teaching, I guess, in life, like a life coach in a way, is how I kind of want to make sure that I inspire others. And then also just, again, really bringing forth the effort and people understanding how critical Alzheimer's and dementia is, but also taking advantage of your health right here, right now in your 20s, 30s, so that by the time you're 60s, 70, and 80 years old, you're on the other side of the health aspect of things. So Right now, I'm just trying to bring awareness, build my brand, also just build just who I am as a man too at the same time, in honor of my father and those who suffer from Alzheimer's and dementia.
You transitioned from teaching
Yes.
to go into modeling and acting.
Yes.
Why?
So transitioning from Orlando, where I was teaching business education and pretty much going after my dreams fully as an actor and model, again, was inspired by what was going on with my parents, with my father really. So I told myself that pretty much if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it now. I'm a single man, I'm not married, I'm not in a relationship, I have no ties to me, I'm not strung to anything. So I went to Los Angeles, California, pretty much for $600, $700 to my name, about 4 or 5 bags. Really tried to go after the American dream, so to speak, by going and transitioning to Los Angeles, California to act and to model. One, because I believe in myself. And for those who may be listening, if you don't bet on yourself, you can't really bet on anything. And I am a huge advocate on that, that following your dreams is it's a crucial point. It's kind of like what Denzel Washington said in an interview a while ago, or at one of his classes. He was like pretty much saying that the itch that you have, something meaning whatever's in the back of your head, talking about, man, I should start this business, or man, I should really open up a barbershop, or man, I should really learn how to figure skate, or whatever the case may be, but you're working or going to school or whatever. That's pretty much God's way of telling you to act on your gift. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I love the opportunity. I love that I had the opportunity, to showcase my talent in the educational world and telling young individuals how to do certain things behind the education part of it, by being in school. But then I also wanted to make sure that I was fulfilling my own dreams too. So I wanted to really make sure that when I got the opening window to go to Los Angeles, California, that I pretty much just put all my eggs in one basket and go full force. Another person that I kind of like fire as role models, I should say, and look up to is people such as Will Smith. And for one thing, I can say this: I'm not afraid to fail. I believe that if you're gonna do something, you may get lucky and you may fail at it, but failing is not a bad thing, and you're not a failure because you fail. I personally feel, also based off of what Will Smith said, is that if you're failing, you have to fail fast, fail forward, and fail often. Denzel Washington also said that as well, that if you're not failing, you're not even trying. So me trying to do what I need to do in reference to being an actor and model, I'm still doing that. It's a progress. It's a process, and it's a progress. But throughout that journey, you're showcasing your progress from where you were before to where you are now. And I can honestly say that I'm not the same man that I was last year. I'm completely different. Every year I'm trying to evolve. I'm always trying to do better. I'm always trying to be a student of the game. That's something that I learned from my old basketball coach back in high school. At my old banquet facility where we were getting our little trophies, is that if you're a true basketball player, or a hooper, you're always learning to study the game. But you could also use that scenario and that type of scenario for life. I'm always willing to be a student of the game. I'm not willing to just change or just say I've made it or I've arrived. I'm far from where I want to be, but I know that I'm on the right path to being where I need to be. So that's pretty much right now where I'm at right now with that. And like I said, man, like the goal, it's 2022. My goal personally is I want to be in somebody's movie by the end of by the end of 2022, going into 2023. I know pilot season is now, and I know that pilot season usually falls between January and March. So it's a process, and I believe in myself. I'll always gamble on myself. I am somewhat stubborn when it comes to, asking people for help, but I've learned to open up my mouth a little bit more thoroughly now and ask for it in a way that I know that will benefit the person that I'm asking and myself, as a way of not taking advantage of that individual, but also just kind of using what it is that they have more education on or more knowledge on, and then also taking it and tweaking it on my own. So that's how I kind of go about things.
We just weren't meant to be. I'm glad you set me free, and now I'm leaving you behind. 'Cause I'll be okay, 'cause I will be great. I'll move on, I'll be just fine, I'll be just fine. I will let go.
More about the Levy brand and what made you start the brand.
Okay. So pretty much LevyNation, before it even came up, I was brainstorming. I didn't know what kind of name I really wanted to make sure I got, but LevyNation pretty much came after a bunch of brainstorming and thinking, and it represents the legacy, the last name, my last name, and also represents my father pretty much. And it also represents the health and wealth that I'm trying to portray and implement onto people. And LevyNation, I feel, will go worldwide. I believe that it will bring apart opportunities for me to speak in front of other people who may have Alzheimer's and dementia, and be an influence to families and friends who may have that. And then on top of that too, fitness is plays a huge role in my life, and I want to be a huge advocate and a role model in making sure that people understand the importance of what LevyNation will bring to the forefront, and that I'm in this fight as an entrepreneur, as a model, as an actor, and I utilize all of my good knowledge and all of my love and passion for this brand, so that I can bring it to the forefront to be a huge fighter against Alzheimer's and dementia, and that I have the opportunity to really be not just a enclosed brand, but a very out and spoken brand. And that's what LevyNation is all about.
So, you're someone who is big on fitness.
Yes.
And health and wellness.
Yes.
How do you build on that with your mental?
So how I build on that with my mental, for one, is making sure I get the proper sleep, and making sure that with getting the proper sleep, you're also getting the proper nutrition. So right now I'm on a very strict diet, and later on I'd probably be showcasing what it is that I actually eat. That will probably come with LevyNation, of course. And so for right now, making sure that my mental is good is by also listening to certain motivational speeches, listen to certain frequency type, vibration type musics. And so that's pretty much what I do right now on the mental part. Drinking and eating sea moss is another thing that I'm a huge advocate on, because it has a lot of good minerals inside of it. I have 180, I believe it has 92. So that right now alone is something that I'm focusing on, and making sure that I'm getting good blood circulation. Drinking my alkaline water is something that's also important too.
Next for the LevyNation brand.
So pretty much, guys, what's next for the LevyNation brand is myself, for one, bringing LevyNation to the forefront through merch, through meal prep, also movies. You might see me on some series, television. That's what the future holds, and that's what I believe in. And I'm really hoping and putting forth the effort to make sure that LevyNation is pretty much seen worldwide, internationally. I really want to put myself out there. So with LevyNation, it's going to come full force, believe that.
So how can people find you on social media?
So guys, you guys can check it out on social media. You can find me on all platforms at _LevyNation. That's LEVY Nation, NATION _. And you can also click on my bio, go to my link tree.
So thank you guys for watching, and Thank you to Levy for granting this whole day of interview.
Absolutely, I appreciate it, man. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And till next time, till next episode, have a great time. Peace.
LevyNation out.